Great Britain contest the first repechage of the men's single sculls. Matthew Wells in lane 3. From the top, Chile in 1, Argentina 2, Great Britain 3, Latvia 4, and in 5, closest to the camera when we're side on, will be Kazakhstan. Looking there at Latvian Andris Reinholds heading off the start, and above him in 3, Matthew Wells. 2 go through to Thursday's semi-final. So again, it's very important for Matt Wells to win this repechage so he'll get a good lane in that in the semi. He's at 42.5, a very strong start now. He's gone out strong in the first 150 meters, and Argentina there just atop in lane 2.
Matthew's got a great race here for a confidence-building race here for him. Against Latvia's Reinholds, he's exactly the same. Reinholds was just 1 second faster in the heats yesterday, but for Matthew Wells, this is a great tester. He's had a very extraordinary season. In fact, he was injured early on. He wasn't able to make the first World Cup races. He then went to the last World Cup, qualified there for these Olympics, then went to the Under-23 Championships, won the gold medal there, and here he is now leading the field in his repechage heat of these Olympic Games. Yeah. Andris Reinholds moving very well now. He's sitting very low. He's a very powerful, very experienced sculler, Reinholds. He's been around the circuit a long time, so for Matthew Wells to measure up against him, that'll be a very good race for him.
At the 500-meter mark in this first repechage of the men's single sculls, through the line first on looks like Argentina, but didn't seem like that on the pictures. Great Britain in second, Latvia in third place there, but the Argentinian single sculler Fernandez in lane 2, well, he was 15th in the World Championships in 1999, and we haven't seen him this year. He's qualified via the Mexico qualification regatta, and Great Britain now going through. I think that lane order there is wrong there. Great Britain were definitely first at the 500-meter mark. They've got that wrong there. He's up on 36 strokes per minute now. And Great Britain, Matthew Wells, looking smooth and relaxed.
Argentina's Fernandez is doing a good job up there on top of on the top of your picture. He's matching Matthew Wells stroke for stroke, but Wells is really sculling very fluently here, very loosely, very relaxed. Sitting upright, just driving the legs, boat running very nicely for him.
Shot there of Fernandez, and as the scullers now are well into the second 500 meters, it's stroke for stroke really between Argentina in 2, Great Britain in 3, and Latvia in lane number 4. But on the times, it should be Latvia and Great Britain overall qualifying from the heats. The comparable times from the heats. We'll see what the times are on the 1,000-meter mark. But meanwhile, Great Britain, a solid start in the first half. We're heading out towards the halfway mark, and we'll compare the times there on that. Matthew on 34, a steady 34 strokes per minute. Going through the 1,000 meters in this first repechage of the men's single sculls. Great Britain now first at that mark, Latvia second, Argentina in third. Great Britain were first at the 500-meter mark. He's having a very steady and solid first half of this 2,000 meters. We're at the 1,000 meters, it's 2,000 to go. And now Latvia in lane 4, starting to challenge through the 1,100. But Dan, we're hopeful for good things here from Matthew Wells.
Well, this is a very good tester for him. They're racing really for lanes later on in the regatta. Very important to get a good lane. I think it's definitely going to be Matthew Wells and Reinholds who are going to qualify here. But Reinholds is going to put him under a lot of pressure. And this is a very good test for him. Reinholds is just beginning to edge out in front. Let's see how Matthew Wells responds. You can see the difference in their styles. Matthew sitting much higher at the front end of the stroke, getting on very quickly with his legs. Argentina now beginning to slip back.
Argentinian single sculler was at Barcelona. He was 6th on the single scull. He was 12th in Atlanta. This is his 3rd Olympic Games. 750 meters to go. And Matt Wells there looking very strong on these wonderful conditions here at Penrith Lakes for this repechage. The heats of the repechage, the events here today. It's a cutthroat race. First 2 through, everybody else out.
See Reinholds sitting quite low in his boat. Sits low, drives hard with the legs, doesn't lift very much off the catch at the beginning of the stroke. He just drives straight back horizontally, whereas Matthew Wells very different. He's sitting nice and tall, and he almost leads off with his back. The legs then take over through the middle of the stroke.
The Latvian led Matt Wells on the comparable times from the heats. He led him to the 1500 meter mark, and he was a second faster at the 1000, at the 2000. And we're through now the 1500 meter mark in this first repechage of the men's single sculls. And there are no surprises to see Latvia and Great Britain out front. It's 2 through to Thursday's semi-final. Muller, Waddell, Hacker and Porter are all through. They're the favourites to take the title. They're all through. But Matt Wells looking very, very strong here. He's in second place. The Latvian sculler Reinholz has come strong in the third 500. Great Britain led to the 1000. Latvia on 34 strokes per minute now. Matt Wells in second place, comfortably so. Both scholars, Dan, looking good really. There's a difference in style, but they're both looking very good.
But I'm a bit worried about the way that Reinholz has taken a length and a half out of Matthew in the last 400 metres. He's really moved right away from him. And if Matthew wants to find himself in the final later on in the week, he's going to have to beat this man. But he's looking very strong, Reinholz. And Matthew didn't have much of an answer there when Reinholz made his push.
250 metres remain now in this repechage, the first repechage, men's single sculls, and it looks as though Matthew Wells really is just paddling in now. He's settling for second place, but not so the Latvian sculler in lane 4. He's on 35.5, 36 strokes per minute, and Matt Wells there, we just see the pained expression. It's a long old race in the single scull. Little look to the left to see where Reinholz is. Reinholz is in lane 4, Matthew Wells in lane 3. We've got 100 metres remaining. Matthew Wells on about 34. Latvian sculler Reinholz on 36. Matt Wells starting to come back in the last 50 metres. He's got a little bit of an overlap here, but on the day, in this repechage, Latvia will take first qualification place, and Great Britain's Matthew Wells will take second. And still, though, a comfortable row and a good victory there for both scullers.
Well, Matthew Wells had to work quite hard there. He was up at 36, 37 at the end there, trying to close the gap on Latvia. Good scull for him. He's qualified. He's through to the semi-finals, so he'll be very pleased with that. Semi-finals of the Olympics, good place to be.
So both British representatives in the single sculls safely through, but Matthew with some ground to make up in his semi-final, it would appear.